We're going to go through this real estate listing for a commercial building in Molalla, Oregon. We're going to use an industrial price calculator to find out how much the building's worth, and we're going to use an industrial development calculator to find out how much the land next to the building is worth. Combine those two results together, and that's going to be our final offer. This listing is on LoopNet. LoopNet is a site like Zillow, but for commercial buildings. We're going to analyze this property through the eyes of a real estate investor. They're asking for $699,000 for this property. This asking price may be right on the mark. We don't know until we jump in and analyze the deal. This property is 3,600 square feet in Molalla. It is currently being used as an automotive repair shop. So it has 2 bay doors, some office space, parking on the side. It's built in 1957. They're asking for $192 a square foot. Is that right? As part of the analysis, we're going to break down this flow into several parts. The first is analyzing just the building itself. What is the building worth? And then we're going to see how much is the land worth. And then we're going to bring them together and say this is the final value of this property. Jumping into the listing, we have 2 bay doors, some office space over here on the side. It looks like an automotive repair shop. It is 3,646 square feet with a lot size of about 1/3 of an acre. The total assessment value for the county is $140,000. It's been on the market since October 16th, about 3-4 months. That is all the information we're given on this property. The rest we're going to have to go and find. Opening the property in Google Maps will give us a better view of where the property is and what it looks like, taking a look at the land around it. So that's this blue building here, and this side lot is also part of the cell. So half of the property has the building on it, and the other half has empty lot, which it looks like they're using for some parking, some storage. You can partition the land off into 2 lots and then create either another building there, or just bring in a mobile food truck, like a coffee shack. It depends on the zoning, it depends on what's allowed there. If retail food truck is allowed, then that might be a great opportunity to do something that's low cost but high value. Zooming out to look where the property is, this is the property here. It's at the far end of Molalla, right off of 211. You wouldn't want the new property to be dependent on foot traffic. This is going to be somewhere people have to drive to. All of the houses are down here, over here, and then some down on this corner. But essentially, this is out of the way. This property is not in the heart of Molalla. Using the price per square foot calculator for industrial builds, we have the annual lease rates. We probably get about $16 a square foot, maybe $18 a square foot. Yeah, $16 a square foot. Start being conservative. And we had 3,600 square feet. Interest rates are terrible right now. Let's just underwrite at 6.75, 25-year, 30% down, maybe 40% down, 35. Expense percentages, if it's going to be triple net, that's going to be a lot lower. If you're going to be paying some of the expenses, then it's going to be higher. We're probably going to have the tenant pay most of the expenses, but we can assume we're going to be paying something. So let's say about 15% expenses. As an investor, it depends on you. It depends on your requirements for this property. Looking at some of the metrics, that means the building value is $150 a square foot with a debt service coverage ratio of 1.65. A bank is going to love that. A cap rate of 9%, that sounds fine. For an older property like this in a smaller market, you're looking at 9, 10, 11 cap rates. The property value, the building itself, if you were to buy it and you can't do anything with the land, the building is worth $537,000. Let's assume we can do something with the land. We can take the existing property, break it into 2 lots, have your automotive repair shop here, and then something else over there. This is the zoning map of Molalla. And if we remember on Google Maps, our property is over here in this pink area, which is commercial 2. So general commercial. It is extremely important if you're going to do anything with development, you need to understand how to read a zoning map and how to find the property and how to find the zoning information about your property. So this is general commercial C2. Once you have the zoning code, you're able to go to the city site or county site. You're able to pull all of the development standards and development requirements for that piece of property in that zone. I've done just that. I've Googled Molalla C2 zoning, then I've pulled up the zoning district regulations, and then here it will list out all of the allowed uses for all the different types of properties. These are the allowed uses in all the different zone types in Molalla. We have residential 1, 2, 3, 5, commercial 1, commercial 2, M1, M2, which is industrial. So we are C2. So everything in this C2, this will tell us whether we can. P is permitted use, S is permitted with special use, with CU is conditional use required, and then N is not allowed at all. There's no way you're going to do it. So P, we're looking for something in P. We're not going to do something with, well, maybe we could. We could do a senior housing. We could do senior housing, micro generation, so a solar farm, that's cool. A daycare center, community garden, transportation facilities. Now commercial use, this is where we're at. We're looking in the C2 column. So automotive repair, that's allowed. We can do another automotive repair shop. Commercial, retail, sales, and services, okay? So that's like just a store, right? You can open a bike shop if you wanted to. A call center, we can do a motel or hotel, medical clinics, office space, or a veterinarian clinic, self-service storage. That's pretty much all we are allowed to do in C2. So it's a building with something inside of it. Some retail, probably not food. I don't think you can do food. You could do a mobile food unit. It's going to require a special permit, but that is an option. We can go back to that if everything else doesn't work. Opening up the industrial land development calculator, this allows us to take a piece of land, put in all of our assumptions, and it will spit out what you can build, the best maximum use of that land, how much it's going to cost, and then it backs into what the price of the property is. So that's how you value land, is you start with the maximum use in mind, how much it's going to sell for, then you back out the costs to develop that property, hard costs, soft costs, engineering costs, planning costs, fees, SDCs, everything that is needed for development. You back it out of the final sale price, and all that's left is the maximum offer for that land, essentially the value for that land. Our property was 1/3 of an acre. We cut the property in half. So we take 0.17 acres. The adjusted unbuildable acres, that includes things like easements, setbacks, topology, for things like the max impervious surface or parking ratio. We get that from these development standards. In these development standards, it tells us exactly what we are allowed to do. This one is for residential, so we don't want residential. We want to scroll down here until we find the non-residential districts. This includes commercial, industrial, and other special zones. Max building height, we're allowed to build up to 55 feet. There's no minimum lot area, which means we can make our lot as small as possible. That's fine. It's not great to do because you want a larger lot for a larger building. The costs work better that way. For fences, here are the heights that we can have fences. We can have 100% lot coverage. That's the foundation plane. So our building can take up 100% of the property. But we do need 5% for landscaping. Minimum setbacks, how far from the side of the property we are allowed to build. So we have the max impervious surface area, which we get from the zoning documents. The parking ratio just tells us how many parking spots we need for the size of the building. And that's given by the city. The city will tell you exactly what you need. In any county and city, there's going to be some development code for parking and loading requirements. You can just scroll down until you find your use. So in commercial categories, here's the parking requirements for a hotel, for offices. It's 1 space per 500. If we were to do a retail service, it's 1 space per 300. For a bank, for retail, it's 1 space per 400. It completely depends on what you are looking for. But I mean, it's probably safe to say 1 space per 500 square feet. Back in our development calculator, that means we're going to be spending 2 spots per 1,000 square feet. Number of floors, it's going to be 1 floor. Yeah, so it'll probably cost about $100 to build, about $12,000 in permitting costs, miscellaneous costs is $7,500. Here's your general contractor's profit, land developer profit, cost to develop the property, like the groundwork, STC fees. That will lead us with a total building size of 2,700 square feet. The finished lot value, after we get everything fully entitled, $200,000. The max offer for the land portion is $110,000. That's if you can build it for $100 a square foot and sell it for $200 a square foot, as we denoted here in our assumptions. So the building sale price, how much can you sell it for? $200 a square foot. How much can you build it for? In hard costs, $100 a square foot, and then all the other costs associated for development. Whether it's your general contractor fee, your land developer fee, hard costs, soft costs, everything is taken into account, and that leaves us with a building that is 3,000 square feet in size with 2,700 square feet of leasable space. So all in all, the existing building is worth $537,000. The land is worth $110,000. That means our total offer should be $647 because it's just those two numbers added together. A good return on investment. If your assumptions are correct, if you have the correct numbers for everything, that would work out. And so that is how you take this property, you look at it through the eyes of an investor, and you come up with the actual value of the property. And so for in this case, $640,000. You get it under contract for $640,000. Make sure the environmental study comes out clean. Make sure the existing auto repair shop wasn't dumping oil in the lot next to you, because that will destroy your ability to develop on it. Make sure your assumptions on how much the rent is right. But other than that, it's a simple walking through every step of the way, breaking it down. What is what worth? What does it cost to develop? What is it worth to rent it? And that will get you the final value of this property. It just depends on your return requirements and how much you can build that property for. 640 seems about right. It's probably the right ballpark number for this property. If you're not able to develop that side portion, then that brings the property value a lot down, because you're taking out that $110,000 in land value. The land value might be substantially less. If you have to do remediation on the land, then that's going to be another $50,000 just to clean the land up. So then it brings the land value down to $60,000. Just something to think about. One way to analyze this property. If you have any questions, please let me know. I love talking about real estate. I love talking about people's different projects. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, just please let me know. Thanks, and I will see you in the next one.